Yo, welcome back, everybody. Episode 6 of the InkedNBA podcast. This week on the Instagram, you guys saw a little something going on. Mr. Mike Scott on the Philadelphia 76ers blocked us on Instagram because every time we post his emoji tattoos, you guys go crazy in the comments and roast him. So we tried to make amends, and obviously that didn't work. So Mike Scott, if you're hearing this, we need to make something happen. We need you to get on the pod. We need you to talk about your tattoos and silence all the haters out there. We'd love to know the meanings behind your ink. So if you're listening to this, everyone go comment on Mike Scott's recent picture. Tell him to get on the podcast. Now, for episode 6, this is the first time we spoke to an artist and we had an artist on the pod. I think this conversation was fucking sick. I mean, Steve Butcher, one of the best artists in the game. The guy's work is insane. If you haven't seen it, go check out his Instagram real fast before you finish listening. He is nuts. All his tattoos look like identical to pictures. And he's also a huge basketball fan, so this all like kind of worked out. He was a super cool guy to talk to, and I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. What's up, guys? This is your host, Matt Mangano. Make sure to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. And we also have a YouTube channel, so head over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the InkedNBA podcast. Today is a super exciting episode. We're joined by one of the best tattoo artists in the world, if not the best at what he does, Steve Butcher. Steve, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, bro. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I want to get into a lot of stuff with you. This is a conversation like I'm super excited to have. I've been following you for a while. I've seen your work progress over the years, and I've seen you like get into different fields in terms of like whether you're tattooing celebrities, NBA players, things like that. And I think it's fucking sick what you're doing.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Of course. Let's start from the like beginning of everything and just what got you started in tattoos. What made you kind of want to start tattooing?
So in 2008, my nana passed away, and a year later, I ended up getting my first tattoo of her, a portrait of her on my arm from my friend, and it was inside his kitchen, like super ghetto styles, you know. But after I got that, I was kind of like I was at art school at the time, and I didn't really have like a direction I wanted to go, so I was kind of like, man, I could give this a go. So I just bought like a kit off the internet, just like super budget kit from China, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I just started just tattooing like he gave me some pointers like how to run a machine and stuff, and then I just started tattooing my friends out of my house.
That's wild. And then, so what was like your first actual like job or gig like in a tattoo shop?
Like a year later, I got a job in a street shop named Streetwise in Newmarket, Auckland, New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked there for 2 years, just doing like basic stuff, just doing like writing, symbols, like whatever walk-ins came into the shop. But it kind of got me like a really good foundation for like tattooing, you know?
Yeah. And were you always like putting your work out on social media? Because you have a huge social media presence. When was the first time you saw like your work getting recognized? Whether it's because I've seen your stuff on fucking ESPN, Sports Center. I've seen your work everywhere. So what was the first like big repost you got?
Big repost I got was James Harden tattoo I did maybe 6-7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I did a portrait of James Harden, and ESPN posted it, Sports Center posted it. It was on his and hers. Like, it was awesome, man. And it was even doper. My customer got hit up by James Harden and
That's wild.
Yeah, bro, got sent a bunch of like signed sneakers and jerseys and stuff.
That's sick.
I guess he was like the only person in the world with a James Harden tattoo at that time.
Well, I've seen you do a bunch. You've done like just portrait wise of NBA guys. You've done like how many guys? Probably like 10, 15 different players.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, there's a lot of repeats, like Kobe and Jordan. There's a lot of Kobe and Jordans, you know.
What got you, because I know that you're a big Lakers fan. You see all the Lakers stuff in the back for anyone watching on YouTube. What got you, like, where did your passion for basketball kind of come from?
I mean, man, it's like in New Zealand, there's like rugby, cricket, basketball, soccer. And so for me, I'm very kind of OCD, I guess. I like fast-paced things. I don't like to wait around too much. So
Yeah.
basketball was definitely like the most fast-paced game for me. And then they don't screen a lot of it in New Zealand. Like we don't get to see NBA games and stuff that much unless you've got cable and shit. So
Yeah.
it was just kind of like the culture, man. Like I've been into sneakers my whole life, basketball, hip hop. I guess it's just that whole kind of culture around it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And so why the Lakers? Being from New Zealand, like why did you choose the Lakers as your like fandom?
Come on, man. Kobe, bro. At that time when I was getting into basketball, bro, it was like, sorry, I just my charger.
Nah, no worries.
It was like the end of the Jordan era and the start of the Lakers era, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like Jordan, it was like 1998, 99 was like when I first saw my first basketball game, you know? So for me, it was kind of like what everyone was liking, but then it evolved from there for me with Kobe a lot because his mentality and his drive and everything is kind of what made me who I am, you know?
Mm-hmm. And so can you talk a little bit more on that? Like what does Kobe mean to you just in your field? Like what does he kind of do for you? And then just in life in general, what did Kobe mean to you?
I mean, man, his whole work ethic, the whole kind of like first in the gym, last out of the gym type thing, like that was me, bro. I try to do like the craziest tattoos, try to do something that people are like, oh, I can't do that. Yeah. I'm going to do it. It's going to take us 12 hours, but we're going to do it.
We're going to get it done. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so, and that whole kind of like, just like, stop complaining, just take it on the chin and get the job done, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's kind of like life morals for anyone really who's trying to strive at what they're doing.
Did you ever get to meet Kobe or go to a game and at least watch him?
Yeah, I got to see him play a couple times, but I never got to meet him, bro. I tattooed Jordan Farmar and Matt Barnes, and they both contacted him for me, but it never got around to happening.
So you just saw Jordan Farmar, Matt Barnes. Run me down like a list of guys that you've tattooed in the NBA.
We got Zoe, Jordan Farmar, Matt Barnes, Danny Green, Gerald Green, Austin Rivers.
What was kind of your first like big break when it came to like tattooing either a celebrity or like an NBA player where you realized like, oh shit, like these like big time guys are starting to realize like my work?
I guess the first one was Matt Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did Matt Barnes' hand. I did Tupac on his hand, and then I did Nipsey on his other hand.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of like, oh yeah, this is dope. Because I mean, he's an ex-Laker as well.
Yep.
The famous play where Kobe staunched out the ball being passed in his face.
Yep.
You know, like that was a dope conversation to have, like with Matt. You know.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about Lonzo and Lonzo's sleeve. I mean, I think that's one of the like most legendary tattoos in the NBA right now. I think when you see that, it's kind of like you put that image to that player. And I think that tattoo will always be like that. I think that will sort of be like engraved in the NBA Tattoo Hall of Fame, so to speak.
Dope, man. Thank you.
No, for sure. I mean, that piece is ridiculous. When you look at it, it looks like you're looking at photos. So can you run me through how you and Zoe got together and like met and started talking about just the ideas behind that sleeve, and then how that whole process kind of happened?
I mean, Zoe's a super cool dude, bro. Like, he just hit me up on IG and was like, "Yo, fam, we gotta get some work in."
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like a process of like, what do you want? And then when he said he wanted like a Black Excellence arm, I was like, oh man, like the whole arm? He's like, yeah. I was like, woo, yes, the whole arm. But I mean, for him, it was just drawing inspiration from, like, I guess the recent happenings that has been going on as well, and his culture and everything like that. And I mean, it's kind of hard to make original these days because a lot of those portraits have been used before, you know. Yeah. But I feel like we did a good job in trying to link it all together and make it one thing for him, one piece.
For sure. No, I think that is one of the best single arm sleeves forget sports, just I've ever seen in the world.
Thank you, man.
Of course. You also did a piece on Zoe's chest, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And what was that? What was the piece
It
on
was
his chest?
two wolves with the number 2 playing card in the middle,
Okay,
and
dope.
I think it said lone wolf.
And how for the going back to the sleeve real quick, how long was that session, or like how many days did you guys kind of work on that whole piece?
I think it was 5 days.
Shit.
5 days, and so like each day. I mean, the first day he was like, "We'll knock it out in 2 days, bro," and I was like, "All right." And then it got to the second day, and he was like, "Woo, nope." So yeah, so we did another session for the finish the Obama, and
Mhm.
then we did the Malcolm X, and then we did Jackie Robinson and Martin Luther King in the same day.
That's wild. And what about for you? Like for you, when's a moment where you kind of have been starstruck? Like when someone hit you up or someone gave you recognition on a piece where you kind of sat back for a second and you were like, "Oh shit!" Like they're
I
recognizing
mean,
my work.
any of those NBA players, bro, just any kind of recognition from any of those dudes is dope, bro. Just because I've been a fan my whole life, and like
Yeah,
only ever seen them on TV. So it's cool getting to meet them and realize that they're just normal people.
yeah. So I want to shoot over now and kind of shift gears to Danny Green. We had him on the podcast and we talked a little bit about the thought process on his side going into the championship tattoo. So I want to know for you, when Danny approaches you with something so important like that, what were you thinking? How was your process with him, and how long did that tattoo take?
I mean, Danny, bro, Danny's probably out of all the players I've tattooed, like my favorite client ever, bro. He's such a cool
Really?
dude. Yeah, dude, he's so nice, like so accommodating. It was just like an awesome time hanging out. And
Hmm.
his tattoo, I mean, if it was fully up to me, I maybe would have gone a different route with like picture selection, but a lot of the things in the image had a lot of meaning to him. So
Yeah.
so it was just more or less trying to piece it all together and make it look like something that I would create, but with his ideas and his input.
Hmm. And for someone like Danny Green, I know you're a huge artist, obviously a very busy guy. Danny Green hits you up. You're dropping everything and kind of getting him in the chair.
Well, not exactly, man. I mean, I've got customers and people booked in for months on end, and if I move them, then I usually have to kind of like make it up in my own time. So
Yeah.
usually, if I don't have a day for Danny or these dudes, I'll work on my day off.
Okay. So you have like, let's say your day off is the kind of day aside for that last minute work in session.
Yeah, because these dudes, their schedules are so crazy, bro. They can't book nothing 2 months in advance. They're
Yeah.
like, I have 2 hours tomorrow. Are you free? And I'm
Yeah.
like, God damn.
I guess I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like I kind of know the answer to this, but if there was a person that you could tattoo, whether it's dead or alive, who would that person be?
Yep. You already know, bro. It would have
Yeah.
been Kobe for sure. I mean, that was kind of like half the reason why I moved here too, bro, from New Zealand, was I just wanted to try get closer to him, try meet him, just thank him for everything that, like his inspiration and shit he did for me, because I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for watching all of his videos.
No, that's wild. So then when people come to you with like the idea of, oh, I want to get Kobe tattooed on me, I want to do a Kobe portrait, or I want to do a Kobe GG portrait, something like that. How special is that to you as such a big fan of his?
It's hugely special, bro. Like I mean, there's a million tattoo artists out there that could have picked anyone to do it, and the fact that I get to keep doing them and do them well, and like you see these people are the same as me, they didn't know them personally, but you'll see them break down into tears after they finish the tattoo and shit, man. It's like
Yeah,
it's crazy the amount of people he touched.
for sure. What's the like your favorite tattoo? What's the tattoo you've done? One, your favorite, and then what's one where you kind of like a weird one where you did it and you kind of looked back and you were like that's a little weird, or just the situation around it.
uh my favorite is kind of hard, bro. Like all the Kobe's I like. There's a Aboriginal guy I did a few years ago with white face paint that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
um that's a really good tattoo. It was kind of like another one that kind of put me on the map a little bit.
Yeah.
And I never posted it, but when I was at that street shop ages ago,
Yeah.
I had a client who was a nudist,
Okay.
and he wanted a life-size woman on his back, naked, turning around like this. But he wanted her hips to blend into his hips, so it looked like his butt was her butt.
What?
Bro, weird.
And I mean, how did that come out? Did that like work out?
I mean, I'd only been tattooing for 2 years, bro. I'm pretty sure it looked pretty terrible.
All right. Well, if that guy's listening, we need an update of the
Yeah.
of the ass tat of the
Come
model in the
through,
back.
come through to America and let me fucking fix it.
Yeah. So something that you just said that kind of intrigues me is your move to LA. You said is kind of like was kind of sponsored or kind of like for Kobe Bryant and to just move closer to LA and the Lakers as being a Lakers fan. So do you think that like that move would have happened without Kobe? Do you think you would have came to the States without Kobe Bryant?
I mean, yes and no, bro. Like, I doubt that my whole life I would have had the urge to come here like that. You know what I mean? If I didn't have basketball, I don't think I would have had that urge to get out so much. Because in New Zealand we only have NBL and it's terrible watching it. Like only one dude can dunk. Like, what the fuck, man? This ain't basketball.
Well, shout out Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey just got to the league. He played in the NBL. Hope he does well.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. That's funny you said that. So how was the move to the States and LA? How did that affect your career, or how did that kind of boost your career?
Yeah, definitely boosted it, man, for sure. I mean, I'd been traveling here for a couple years, back and forth, just kind of guest spotting and doing conventions and stuff like that. But definitely wanted to make it a little bit more permanent, you know, just so I can kind of try to set up some sort of business here, get a shop going, something like that, you know.
For you, are there any? Because when I think of tattoo artists, like I was saying before, you're on the top of that list, right? I think
Thank
of like the best tattooers in the world. Your name is always has to be said. For you, is there certain guys or tattoo artists that you look at and you really appreciate their work, and for you that those guys are like on the top of your list?
Yeah, man. There's one dude named Dmitry Samohin.
Okay.
He's from the Ukraine, and my God, that dude is he's a god. He is a god, bro.
I have to look at his stuff. I've never seen his stuff, but
yeah, he's definitely one of my biggest inspirations in the tattoo industry.
And is he the same style as you? Is he like that color realism?
Yeah, color realism for sure. But because he lives in Russia and the Ukraine, he gets a lot more pale skin. You know.
Yeah.
That stuff looks like his tattoos look amazing, bro.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second, because I know a lot of the followers of the page always talk about that, the like how hard it is for them to find an artist that knows how to tattoo on their skin, and have it like going through the process of finding an artist that kind of knows how to do that. So why is it so difficult, or why is it different tattooing on a lighter skin versus darker skin?
So the thing is, bro, is like tattoos rely on contrast. So
Okay.
blacks and whites. So if the canvas you're tattooing is brown or darker brown, so you've already lost a whole part of the contrast, you know. And then so when you're doing like color is impossible. You can't really do like you can do like primary colors like red, blue, yellow. They'll hold up a little bit. They'll go darker, but they'll still hold up. But like flesh tones, anything like that, it's not gonna sit well and heal well in their skin. It'll just go dark brown again. So you have to use black and gray, and with darker skin, less is more. So you don't want to be putting in a whole bunch of mid-tones and all these little shades, because you're not really going to see it when it heals. You kind of want it to be like black mid-tone skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when did you kind of know that your whole career, or is there sort of like a learning process when it comes to that?
That was definitely a huge learning process, man. It's like the first time you tattoo dark skin, it's scary because you can't see your lines properly. You can't see the stencil. But I mean, doing it more and more, you get more used to it, and then you become able to speak to them properly and let them know that this is going to look way better than the color version or anything like that. And then usually right at the end, they're like, oh man, that shit looks crazy. I didn't even think you could do that on my skin.
No, yeah, that's super dope. Because that is a question. Like, I always get DMs or I always get stuff like that. And me personally, I'm like, listen, I'm not an artist. I don't really know. But I think it's dope to hear your whole side of that and how you explain that. So who was your best client in terms of like who took it the best? Who sat there and kind of like it didn't even seem like they were getting tattooed?
Probably Matt, bro, to be honest.
Matt Barnes?
Matt Barnes is a tough cookie, bro.
Yeah. And he did, I mean, in the hands too. The hands ain't an easy spot.
Not an easy spot at all.
Yeah. And he has the both portraits. If you guys haven't seen those, we'll shoot those up right now on the screen on YouTube. But I mean, those two portraits are insanely detailed, like all your other work, obviously. And then is there, if you don't want to say, you don't have to, but is there a guy that's tapped out early or like hasn't been able to really sit?
Zoe, don't be mad at me, bro. Lonzo wasn't a fan at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a fan. I don't know if you remember the video I posted of him when he was screaming and his daughter was screaming as well.
No, I don't remember that. Was it while you were tattooing him?
Yeah.
I have to go look for that. I haven't seen that.
It's pretty funny.
When you, as a guy with such a like insane portfolio of work, when you look at tattoos in the NBA or in the like tattoos on celebrities, like people that have access to these top-notch artists, are you ever like what the fuck is that? Like, why would you go and get something like that?
All the time, man. All the time. Like they have, I don't want to say all the money in the world, but they have a lot more than most people do. And they have a lot of time to sit there and research, you know what I mean? To like, oh, this dude's dope, but I don't know. Some of them just seem to go to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we see that a lot with like the NBA players, and that's a lot of like the slack that they get when I post something is like comments will be like, hey man, you're in the league, you know, and I'm working at Wendy's and I got better tattoos than you.
Yeah.
So for you, your tattoos yourself, I have a couple questions. Have you ever tattooed yourself? 2, is there any tattoos on you that you kind of regret getting because you got them like super early? And then 3, as a guy that is a tattoo artist, do you kind of shy away from doing certain things because you've experienced it on other clients? Like, let's say you're tattooing someone's back or something, and you don't like the way it kind of fits on their certain muscle part or whatever. Would you then be hesitant to go and get a tattoo in that same spot?
Yeah. So I actually did a Kobe on myself about 8 years ago on my lower leg. And I've done a bunch of like little like Stewie from Family Guy and shit on my thigh just when I was first trying out like doing line work and stuff like that. But yeah, I wouldn't trust a tattoo artist who hasn't tattooed themselves, man.
For real. So do you think every artist has experimented on themselves as like that free space kind of?
I wouldn't say every artist, but I'd say majority of them.
And that's just a like canvas kind of thing, right? Because you're saying like early on you were doing your friends. Let's say you don't have a friend that night, you go ahead and just tattoo your leg. Yeah,
I mean, or like you want something and you don't want to go book in and wait 2 months, so let's give it a jam. See what it feels like.
And how difficult is that to sit there and kind of endure the pain while trying to concentrate and you know do the best work you can?
I mean, my Kobe on my leg, bro, like he's wearing a home jersey, but there's no yellow left in it because I didn't put the yellow in properly because it hurt so much. So like it feels sadistic, bro, tattooing yourself.
Yeah. Well, because you're essentially, you know, shooting yourself with a needle a million times and trying to, you know, put the art side into it.
Yeah, trying to make it look good. And you're like, ow.
Yeah.
It's terrible, bro.
So is there any players, because you're a big NBA guy, like we were saying, is there any players that you are kind of on your wish list? Like if they're listening to this or just in general that you're like, you know, come see me? Oh, I like that.
Luka Doncic.
I like that.
Let's get it.
And do you have some sort of idea or you just want to see what he's up for?
I just want to see what he's up for, man. That would be awesome. He
That
seems
would
like
be
a really
awesome.
cool dude.
Yeah. All right, so Luka Doncic, if you're seeing this or if you're listening to this, go tag Luka on Steve's next post. Let's make that happen.
Let's make it happen.
Is there in the league any guys that you look at and you're like, oh, like he has really good work?
I mean, it used to be Birdman.
Yeah.
Birdman had some dope tattoos, bro. But now, I mean, Zoe.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, like the other thing too is they may have good tattoos, but you can't see them because they're on their thighs or whatever, you know, because they got all their early stuff done on their arms, so they have no space left for visible tattoos. So
Yeah.
you kind of, some NBA players you don't even know their whole torsos are covered, you know.
Yeah. And you don't see that a lot behind the jerseys. And that's one of the main things like I tried to do on my page is you know, you're watching a game, you have no idea KD has tattoos. Yeah, KD takes his shirt off. He's got fucking, you know, neck down, torso and back tattoos.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Birdman and your main thing is color realism. So when you're watching the NBA and seeing these athletes, does it kind of piss you off that like there's not a lot of color in the league?
Yeah, a little bit, man. Because like it kind of stems back to like when I get emails from customers, a lot of them want black and gray. They don't even know the possibilities of color. Or they're scared about it. Like, no, I heard it fades. And it's like, no, it fades just the same as black and gray. It's like, it doesn't fade any faster. But yeah, like, I guess if more people had them, it'd just kind of open up the industry a bit more to like people being more like knowledgeable about color tattoos.
For sure. And I think, like you said, Birdman was really the first guy because, I mean, AI had that influence, but AI didn't have the color tattoos. Birdman really had the color where it was like, it looked like a notebook, like someone colored him in, and it looked sick.
Yeah, when he got his whole neck finished and it was all purple and green, and I was like, far out, bro.
Yeah, so sick. All right, so one of the last questions I have, I want to ask you about a certain piece you did. You did the Jordan meme tattoo.
Yes.
All right, so tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so that customer walked into the studio that day wanting Michael Jordan with the championship trophy. You know, the one where his hat's down and he's kissing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he wanted Jordan with the championship trophy, and I was like, man, it's going to take me 2 days. I don't know if you want just to hand it a trophy. And he was like, man. And I was trying to find photos that would work for him and I'd be able to do in a day. And then I was scrolling through Instagram and I seen that photo and I was like, oh, I don't know if he'd do it. And I was like, bro, I got an idea for you. And then I turned my laptop around and I was like, bro, what if we did this and you can just write with a Sharpie every day a new meme above and below it, and it'd be great. It'd be like your new party trick.
Yeah.
And he stood there for like 5 minutes looking at the photo and then was like, fuck it, let's do it.
Wow.
I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I was like, yes. I was so excited, man.
That's nuts. So, I mean, a client to be able to come in, I think that's unbelievable. To be able to come in with an idea and then you to just like, you know what I mean? To have that kind of trust in you to just be like, you know what? Like, fuck it, go ahead. Like, let's get a meme tattooed.
I feel like tattoo artists, our job before we're tattoo artists is salesmen, you know, like you got to be able to sell your idea to this person and make them want it. Make them be like, no, that's what I want.
Yeah. And
so if you're good at that, you're going to be able to do whatever you want on anybody because you can coax them into doing something that you want to do, which is going to make a better tattoo overall, but also something that they're going to be really happy with.
For sure. All right, man. I fucking awesome conversation. I love that. I loved everything you said. If Luka Doncic, if you're listening, we got to make it happen. I want to see Steve Butcher / Luka Doncic collab happening. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate all the knowledge you just shared on us. Good luck with the rest of your career, man. And I'm excited to see who else you can get in the league to let you tattoo them.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on.
What's up, guys? This is your host, Matt Mangano. Make sure to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. And we also have a YouTube channel, so head over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button.